Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to explore one of the most important and practical concepts in pragmatics. If you look at the image on this slide, you see a very normal, everyday conversation. It looks simple. But as students of language, we know that what's happening is incredibly complex. How do they know what to say to each other? How do they know how much information to give? How do they understand the hidden meanings, the jokes, or the hints? That is our topic today, the cooperative principle and maxims. We are going to learn about the unwritten rules that make conversation work. You can think of any conversation as a cooperative game, and today, we're going to learn the rules of that game. As this slide says, we're starting with the foundation of conversation. In our study of pragmatics so far, we've learned that so much of our communication is unsaid. We infer meanings, we use context to understand what words like he, she, or it refer to, and we know that our words can perform actions, like apologizing or promising. But this system can only work if everyone involved is, well, playing by the same rules. How do we know they are? The answer was proposed by a philosopher of language named Paul Grice in 1975. He called it the cooperative principle. This is our first key term. The principle is a fundamental assumption that we, as speakers, all share. We assume that everyone involved in a conversation is trying to be cooperative and make a meaningful contribution. This slide calls the principle an unwritten social contract, and that is a perfect description. It's like an invisible handshake, as the image suggests. Think about the assumption. When you ask someone a question, like, "What time is it?" you assume their answer will be relevant and truthful. You don't automatically check your phone to see if they are lying. You just assume they are cooperating with your request. This shared assumption is the foundation of our communication. It allows us to be highly efficient. We can convey very complex ideas using very few words, all because we trust that the other person is working with us, not against us, to find the meaning. It's exactly like a team sport. The game only works because everyone has agreed to the rules. Before we go deeper, let's look at our roadmap for today. These are our learning objectives. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to: first, state the cooperative principle. That's the main, fundamental assumption we just discussed. Second, explain the 4 maxims. These are the specific rules for how to be cooperative. Third, identify flouting. This is a very interesting concept. It's how we intentionally break the rules to create hidden meanings, like sarcasm or irony. Fourth, we will analyze these maxims in real conversational exchanges. And finally, our practical goal: to improve your own professional and personal communication by understanding these underlying rules. So, let's get to the formal definition. What is the cooperative principle? Here is the original definition from Paul Grice. He wrote, "Make your conversational contribution such as is required, at the stage at which it occurs, by the accepted purpose or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged." Now, that's quite academic. As B1 level learners, let's break that down. What does it mean in simple terms? It just means we expect each other to be helpful. When you listen to someone, you start with the assumption that they are being truthful and relevant. And here's the most important part: at the bottom of the slide, when someone says something that seems strange, or irrelevant, or just plain weird, we don't immediately dismiss them as crazy or uncooperative. Instead, our brain automatically searches for a deeper, hidden meaning. We ask ourselves, why did they say that? What do they really mean? That search for hidden meaning brings us to our second key term for today, the power of implicature. When a speaker appears to break a rule, when they say something that seems irrelevant or untrue, the listener assumes it's on purpose. The hidden, implied meaning that the listener figures out is what Grice called an implicature. This is the insight from Grice's work. The cooperative principle isn't a strict command, like a traffic law, telling you, you must be polite, or you must be truthful. No. It's a framework for how we interpret what people say. We always assume there is a reason for what people say, even if, on the surface, it seems to violate a norm. So, if the main principle is, be cooperative, how do we actually do that? Grice broke the main principle down into the 4 conversational maxims. Think of these as the 4 specific instructions for being a good, cooperative conversational partner. They are: quantity, this is about how much information you give. Be informative, give enough details, but not too many. Quality, this is about truth. Be truthful. Don't say things you believe are false. Relation, this is about relevance. Be relevant. Stay on the topic. Manner, this is about how you say something. Be clear. Avoid being obscure, ambiguous, or confusing. Now, let's look at each of these 4 maxims one by one. First, we have the maxim of quantity. This maxim is all about the balance of information, which is why we have the image of the scales. It has 2 parts. Make your contribution as informative as is required. Do not make your contribution more informative than is required. It's a balance. Giving too little information leaves your listener confused and frustrated. But giving too much information can be boring, a waste of time, or even seem rude, as if you think the other person knows nothing. The simple rule is, give just enough information, but not too much. Let's look at quantity in action with these 3 examples. Example 1, following the maxim. Person A asks, where is the library? Person B answers, it's on the 2nd floor of the main building. This is a perfect answer. It's just enough information for person A to find the library. Example 2, too much information. Person A asks, what time is it? Person B answers, it's 10:30 a.m. on a Wednesday, May 29th, in the year 2024. The sun is shining, and I am very hungry. This is too much. It's excessive. Most of that detail is irrelevant and breaks the flow of the conversation. Person B has violated the maxim. Example 3, too little information. Person A asks, did you finish the report? Person B answers, I'm a student. This answer is not helpful. It gives no useful information about the report status. Person B has again violated the maxim by not being informative enough. Next, we have the maxim of quality, be truthful. This is perhaps the most important maxim, the one we rely on the most. It also has 2 parts. Do not say what you believe to be false. Do not say that for which you lack adequate evidence. Simply put, be honest. Don't lie, and don't just guess. This maxim is so fundamental that if a person consistently breaks it, if they are a known liar, we lose trust in them, and cooperation becomes impossible. An important note from the bottom of the slide, this is about what you believe to be true. You are not expected to be all-knowing. But you are expected to not intentionally mislead your listener. Let's see this in practice. Following the maxim. Person A asks, is Isabela State University a good school? Person B answers, yes, it is a leading research university in the ASEAN region. Assuming person B believes this is a true statement based on evidence. Person B is following the maxim of quality. But look at this second example, flouting for sarcasm. This is where it gets very interesting for us as English majors. Imagine a student gets a very low, failing grade on a test. Person A says, wow, you did a great job on that test. Person B replies, yes, I really love getting a failing grade. Now, let's analyze this. Is person B telling the truth? No. Person B is saying something clearly false. But is person B lying? No. Person A knows it's false. This is not a violation. This is flouting. Person B is intentionally and obviously breaking the maxim of quality to create an implicature, a hidden meaning. And that hidden meaning is, of course, sarcasm. Person B means the exact opposite of what they said. Our third maxim is the maxim of relation. This is the simplest one. It has only one rule: be relevant. Your contribution to the conversation should be relevant to the topic being discussed. This is the maxim that keeps a conversation on track. It stops it from jumping randomly from one topic to another. Following the maxim. Person A, what do you think of this movie? Person B, I really like the acting. This is a relevant, on-topic, cooperative response. Flouting the maxim. Person A, what do you think of this movie? Person B, I am really hungry. Let's get some food. Now, person B's answer is not relevant to the question. B has flouted the maxim. So, what is the implicature? What does person B really mean? Pause. Probably, person B didn't like the movie and wants to change the subject, or is just bored. By being completely irrelevant, person B implies something they don't want to say directly. And our fourth and final maxim is the maxim of manner, be clear. This maxim focuses on how you say something, not what you say. It's about being clear and straightforward. It has 4 specific parts. We should avoid obscurity of expression, don't use words you know your listener won't understand. Avoid ambiguity, don't say things that can mean 2 different things. Be brief, don't be unnecessarily wordy. Be orderly, present your ideas in a logical sequence. This maxim is especially important, as the slide notes, for technical or academic discussions where precision is key. Let's look at the maxim of manner in action. Following the maxim. Person A, how do I get to the principal's office? Person B, go up the stairs, turn left, and it's the 3rd door on your right. This is a perfect response. Person B is being brief and orderly. It's helpful. Flouting the maxim. Person A, how do I get to the principal's office? Person B, take the path of ascending steps, and upon reaching the terminus, deviate leftward, where you will encounter the portal of our esteemed leader. Now, this is obviously not clear. Person B is being overly complex and obscure. B is flouting the maxim. So what's the implicature? Person B is probably not trying to be helpful, but is trying to be humorous, or perhaps show off their advanced vocabulary. This slide presents a critical distinction in Grice's theory. It's the difference between flouting versus violating a maxim. Both involve not following a maxim, but the speaker's intention is completely different. Let's be very clear about this. Flouting a maxim, this is when the speaker intentionally and obviously fails to follow a maxim. The key word is obviously. The speaker wants the listener to notice. Why? To create an implicature, a hidden, implied meaning. Sarcasm is a perfect example of flouting. Violating a maxim, this is when the speaker secretly and deceptively fails to follow a maxim. The speaker's goal is to mislead the listener. The listener is not expected to notice. As the slide says, a simple lie is a violation of the maxim of quality. So, flouting is a cooperative act to create more meaning. Violating is an uncooperative act to deceive. Let's quickly look at how flouting works for all 4 maxims. First example on flouting quantity. A professor writes a recommendation letter. Mr. Cruz attended all of my classes and did not miss a single test. You can determine the implicature by asking, what is the professor not saying? He's not saying Mr. Cruz is smart, or hardworking, or creative. By giving so little information, the professor implies there is nothing good to say. Let's see the case of flouting. Quality, a boss says, you came in an hour late today. That's a very impressive way to start the day. The implicature of this is sarcasm. The boss means the exact opposite, it is a very bad way to start the day. Let's look at flouting relation. A. Have you finished your essay for tomorrow? Your friend says, I'm so glad this semester is almost over. You determine the implicature by changing the subject. Your friend implies, no, I haven't finished, and I don't want to talk about it. Lastly, let's examine flouting manner. The person I was with last night gave me a ride home. The implicature is manifested by being intentionally ambiguous. Using the vague word person, the speaker is implying secrecy. They don't want to reveal who they were with. So, how does this apply to the real world? In professional settings, like business meetings, job interviews, or academic writing, you are generally expected to follow the maxims closely. Adhering to them is the standard. In business meetings, you are expected to be truthful, quality, provide necessary details, quantity, stay on topic, relation, and speak clearly, manner. In political communication, we see what happens when these are flouted. A politician who constantly changes the subject, flouting relation, is often seen as deceptive or avoiding the truth. And in job interviews, flouting is risky. If you give too little information, violating quantity, the interviewer might think you're hiding something. If you give too much, you may seem unfocused. However, in personal settings, the rules are much more flexible. We often flout maxims for humor, for politeness, or to express complex emotions. And it works, because we have a shared social context with our friends and family. With friends and family, using sarcasm, flouting quality, is a very common way to express affection or humor. Polite avoidance, if someone asks you a question you don't want to answer, like, how much money do you make, giving a vague answer, flouting manner, is a polite way to avoid the question without lying. This brings us to a final, important concept of pragmatic competence. As language learners and users, pragmatic competence is your ability to understand when to follow the maxims and when it is appropriate to flout them. It's about understanding the social context. Alright, so let's summarize what we've learned today with our key takeaways. First, the cooperative principle. This is the foundation. We assume everyone in a conversation is trying to be helpful and cooperative. Second, the four maxims: quantity, be informative; quality, be truthful; relation, be relevant; and manner, be clear, are the specific guidelines for how to be cooperative. Third, flouting creates meaning. Intentionally and obviously breaking these maxims is not a failure. It is a creative way to produce implicatures, those hidden meanings like sarcasm, irony, and politeness. And finally, context matters. Professional settings usually require you to follow the maxims strictly, while personal settings allow for much more flexibility and flouting. Understanding these rules is the key to understanding how we really communicate.